Hang on. Cut the music. Cut the music. Cut the music. Interesting road trip. Okay? We played some very good teams. With the exception of the Arizona Coyotes, who apparently have a good goalie. I'm seeing a lot of craziness going on right now with our fellow members of Leafs Nation. A lot of hot takes. A lot of talk about blown leads. Like, a lot of talk about, listen. This team has overachieved thus far. Not overachieved in a bad way, meaning like they've exceeded expectations thus far in this weird pandemic stop and start season. But I just want to get everybody back on the same page here. Okay? The truth about this team is and has always remained the same. All right? I'm going to stop holding this. Supporting cast matters.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I think this is the best supporting cast they've had in the Kyle Dubas era.
Fair.
But when that puck drops in game 1 of the postseason, I don't care who they're playing. I don't care if it's Boston. I don't care if it's the Florida Panthers. I don't care if it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't care. When the puck drops, this team will go as far as Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, John Tavares, Jack Campbell will take them. Period.
Did you say Nylander?
Yes. Did I say Nylander? I don't know. I'm too fired up. Nylander is definitely in part. I was trying to list the core.
I know.
This team is not going to win their first playoff series since 2004 because of Michael Bunting. I love Michael Bunting. He's going to play a part, but it's going to be the core guys who are getting paid all the money plus Jack Campbell. So everybody settle down. It's just, that's it. They're going to have ebbs and flows for the rest of the season. They're going to have periods of time where they look like cup contenders, and they're going to have periods of time where old habits are going to start to creep in.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this is a playoff team. They will be there, and these guys got to get it done. Period. So I don't want to, this is all minutia. If they fall out of the playoffs for some reason, we got a problem. Sound the alarms.
Yeah.
But if they're just going to do this a little bit, like most other teams do, on the way to the postseason, 3.5-minute rant to open the show this week.
Yeah. It's such a frustrating time to be a part of Leafs Nation during this road trip because you're split down the middle between, okay, I'm not pumped about them falling asleep in the third period and blowing leads. And on the other side, it's an 82-game season. It's the NHL. You're going to go through times like this, and you just got to fight through it. And it all roads lead to April. And I'm getting really sick and tired of trying to pick a side that I'm on because I'm not on a side. I think they're better this year than they were last year as a team.
Yes.
Do they still have all the same core pieces that have blown leads over the past 3 to 4 years? Yes. Do they have a better supporting cast that might help that? Yes. They have a completely different goaltender who's had an incredible season, who I hope continues his incredible season going into April. But I'm not going to get so upset when I watch them blow a lead like against Colorado, almost give up a lead in Las Vegas. The Arizona game, like that sucked, but they dominated that game.
Yes.
And then they blow the lead against the Blues, but then they finally do what they hadn't done against Vegas and Colorado and actually show up in the third period and play the way that those other teams played against them in the third period. So then they show some heart, they win that game. And you just wake up, and I'm trying to think of where I'm at with this team. And it's, as long as they make the playoffs, it's all irrelevant.
Yes.
Like, it's just all irrelevant.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just, I know we have to like analyze this team, and it's frustrating because you don't want to just blow off the season and be like, oh, let's just wait for the playoffs, because we got to do, how many more episodes we have to do before we get to the playoffs?
Quite a few.
A lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to look at things on a weekly basis and analyze them either in a positive or negative way. But at the end of the day, it's all pretty irrelevant because it's all about April.
Yep.
It's all about April, and it's all about seeing they're going to get a tough matchup in the first round. They're not going to win their division. So you're looking at Tampa Bay, Florida, and now the Bruins have won 1,000,000 games in a row. And it's, can they just get over the hump? Can this group get over the hump? And you can take as much as you want from these games in the season, but at the end of the day, I see the exact same hockey team that I've been watching for the past couple of years.
Because the core guys are the same core guys. And
the D core is pretty similar as well.
That's not a negative.
No.
It's like, it's a positive, if anything, but it's just like, that's it. Like, we're going to live and die with Kyle Dubas. We said it in the offseason. We said it at the beginning of this season, and it's still true now. He's living and dying with this core.
Yeah.
And yes, you can make the argument that he's given them their best supporting cast, like we said, but it's them. It's these guys, plus Jack Campbell. That's it. That's it. So I don't, like, I'm not going to, like, ride the highs and the lows. Now, if they lose 6 in a row, I want you to play this clip of what I just said to you.
Yeah, no, obviously a monumental disaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if they're going to, like, drop a couple and then win a couple and then look terrible one night and then look great the next, like, I'm not going to ride that wave. It's just going to be like, these guys know. They're not idiots. They're smart young men. They know what's at stake when the puck drops in round 1. And it's at the point you've put yourself in a position where it doesn't matter who your opponent is.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Like, let's just say Florida overtakes, because the Leafs aren't winning the division. I don't think they're winning the division.
No.
Let's just say Florida overtakes Tampa.
Which they are. Florida scoring 9 goals a game right now.
So then you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion in round 1.
Or you're playing the biggest dragon that you've never slayed.
You've put yourself in a position where no one is gonna look and go, oh well, it was Tampa. Like, it just is what it is. Like, you've got to get it done.
Yeah.
Period.
It's frustrating because I don't foresee a collapse coming in the future because I think they're too good. And you're watching them and it's like, damn, they're a good team. They could hang with any team in this league in any game if they're playing their best or close to their best. But you start analyzing those matchups, and yeah, it will be their fault. But then you start questioning how good they really are, because out of those 3 teams in their division, I'd rather them play the Panthers, because just for the lack of experience on that roster.
It's a better matchup.
Yeah. And
I don't want to go up against Vasilevsky in the first round.
No.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, they're a good team, but how am I still not confident enough that they can beat Boston or Tampa in a first round series?
Listen, part of that is just the fact that their division is really good and these are good hockey teams.
Yeah.
Like, that's just part of it. It's just part of it.
Yeah, it's I'm just running around in circles when I'm watching them. Like, I'm so wishy-washy with the way I feel. 1 second, I'm like, you can't blow these leads. Like, you can't do it. And then another minute, we're kind of where we're talking right now, being like, whatever. Yeah. I'm not gonna go cry on Twitter because of one blown lead.
No.
You know?
And I'm not gonna start, like, trying to reinvent the wheel here. It's like, The only main difference between going into the first round this year versus previous years is Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
It's Jack. Like they haven't had. How much of the loss last year to the Montreal Canadiens would you put at the feet of Jack Campbell?
I thought he let in some weak goals in Game 7, but I never thought that series should have got to Game 7.
No. So
monumental mistakes by defenders costed them, and forwards. Galchenyuk, Dermott, 2 big gaffes in those 2 games. I mean, Campbell, I thought that the one Gallagher goal that kind of opened it up in Game 7, that was not great, but it never should have got to Game 7.
No. So it's not entirely I don't place a ton of blame at his feet either.
But at the same time, sometimes to get out of these playoff slumps,
you need a goalie to
sometimes you need to win a game you don't deserve to win.
If you're not gonna have a good matchup in the first round. That's just the way the NHL is now, especially the top of the East. Even if you fall into one of those other wild card spots and you end up playing like the Penguins in round 1 or something,
Probably play the
Capitals or something, like Jack Campbell's going to have to go toe-to-toe with whatever goaltender is on the other side of that rink if they're going to have a chance. But that's not
the issue.
How the hell do you think the
right
Lightning
now.
won 2 cups?
Honestly, they're so unfair.
Yeah.
Like,
but
Vasilevsky is the best goaltender walking the planet.
You can
right
look at the Tampa Bay Lightning roster and you can pinpoint all the great players they have. You can pinpoint the fact that they probably have the best defenseman in hockey. But at the end of the day, that team does not win 2 Stanley Cups without their goaltender.
No.
Straight up.
No.
So it's just...
But we're okay. Let's analyze where they're at right now.
Yes.
Okay. All that being said, they have a problem, which again sounds like the same problem we've been having year after year, of falling asleep and just suffering from the worst case of puck watching I have ever. All these blown leads on this road trip, they lose a little momentum in the game, either because they were on a PK or the team just got or the team just scored a goal, and then they do this thing where they're in their end and they're skating around and they're doing the whole like having a good stick thing, waving the sticks around, following guys around the zone, but none of them are attacking or checking. And it all just ends up collapsing on Campbell. And then there's like just a weird little goal. How many goals last night? Who sniped on Jack Campbell last night?
No one.
It was all in front of the net, all passes around the net. And it's like, you gotta, guys all alone. Like you gotta watch your man.
Yeah.
Like, stop looking to exit the zone when you're getting dominated.
Isn't
like,
it funny how
watch your man?
Isn't it funny how it just goes through the whole team? Like the whole team just.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to watch, to be honest. I've never seen a team just go from 100 to 0 in 2 shifts.
Yeah.
Like, they look amazing. They're forechecking. They're doing all the things that they need to do to be a great hockey team and to win. And then they give up the 1 goal, and then they just like, what are they doing? Like, just leaving men wide. I forget what goal it was. It was, I think it was the Kyrou goal where they're exiting the zone, but then someone turns it over and they throw it in front of Campbell, and there's a 2-on-0 right in front of Campbell in the crease, and it's like, where the hell is the defense?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Like, and if I'm Sheldon Keefe, I don't know how Sheldon Keefe
Well, I mean,
like,
that's part of what
Keeps
led
is
to
cool,
the
man.
he contributed to a lot of the up and down this week. You know, he comes out after the Arizona game and he basically calls out the team's conditioning, and then there's videos of him bag skating them at practice. And so he's not happy. Listen, he knows what I took from the documentary at the beginning of the season on Amazon was he knows what they need to do to win in the playoffs. It's all about if these guys execute.
Yeah.
It's that's it.
They got to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
They have to find a way to, when things are collapsing on them, to find a system or a way to defend, because there's ebbs and flows in every sport. How many times have you watched an NFL game where a team goes up in the 4th quarter with 4 minutes left, and you just know the opposing team is going to just have that drive where the the defensive team just can't make a play and they go down, score a touchdown, and win the game. It's the same thing in hockey. You could dominate for a period, dominate for 2 periods, but most of the time there's going to be a point in each game where you are on the ropes a little bit. And for if the Leafs want to be successful, they have to find a way to just rally when it's like that. Maybe I need to start watching other hockey teams play because we're such in a bubble of watching them play that I don't watch the Bruins play every night, but maybe they have those moments too where they're on the ropes.
I think it is more common than you think. It's just how
do you minimize the damage?
Correct.
Like how do you
absolutely correct
get out like with 1 goal, not 2, and they got to stop giving up goals at the ends of periods too. That's another bad habit they have. They just take the foot off the gas at the end of the period, and I just don't get it. They got to find a way to clean that up if they want to win.
So they got a game against the New Jersey Devils at home. My understanding is that's still a go.
Devils.
Has that game been pushed? Have we heard anything about that?
I don't know.
I don't to my knowledge, it's still a go. No, it has been postponed. I am wrong. I am lying to your face. Their next games are Wednesday in New York against the Rangers, and then Saturday in New York against the Islanders.
2 tough games.
So
they're continuing a tough stretch of games here.
Yep.
And they can play good teams well, but we've seen what can happen when they also play good teams. They could fall asleep and collapse and lose a hockey game. So as long as they just keep going consistently, like you're right, it's stay away from the 6-game loser.
Yes.
Get to the playoffs.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
100%. That's how you avoid absolute disaster.
One main topic I wanted to talk to you about today, Jack Campbell's pending contract extension.
Oh God.
He's having he's in the conversation thus far for the Vezina. He's having a career year.
Yeah.
He's got Kyle Dubas by the you know what right now when it comes to negotiation.
Oh. Unreal how much he's got him.
Oh. So, but here's the question I want to ask you, because I think you can draw a comparison here to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think
this is very Robbie Ray
and Marcus Semien, 2 guys who came here and had an out of their mind year. Mm-hmm. And you had to look at it and go, okay, but if you look at the span of their careers, this season is can they keep this up?
Yep.
So you have to kind of look at Jack Campbell through that same lens and be like, if we sign this guy to a 5-year deal at $6 million, do we think he'll play like this? And he's been pretty fortunate. Like we said last week, the benefit of the COVID sort of pause was he was able to get some rest.
Yeah. But
he's, knock on wood, he's seemingly stayed healthy. I'm going to mega knock on wood for that one. But what do you do? Because you got if he continues to have, especially if he contributes to you winning a playoff round, this guy, you're gonna have to pay this man his money. And so do you take that risk and do you say, all right, we're gonna sign you to a 5-year deal at a $6 million cap hit? Or do you go, I don't know, Jack.
I mean, the Blue Jays would have re-signed Robbie Ray if there was no Kevin Gausman in the picture.
Someone will come and give Jack Campbell that money. If Kyle Dubas doesn't do it,
I'm trying to think of teams that really need a goalie.
Someone will give him that money.
Goalies are tough because you look at Bobrovsky and you look at Carey Price, the 2 $10 million goalies, and all in all, haven't earned their contracts. I know Carey Price has had good runs in the playoffs last year, but all in all, consistently have not earned their contracts. So there is a point with goalie negotiations where I think general managers are just going to be like, no, we're not paying you over $7 million. Absolutely not. I think I'm more interested in what Jack Campbell's camp is thinking right now, because I don't think they're doing anything until the end of the season.
No, I don't think
so.
I don't
think they're going to do a thing. And Kyle Dubas might be completely screwed, and because he's playing so well, and you're happy he's playing so well because they're in this position because he is. But I mean, what are you going to do? Go into next season with Peter Mrazek as your goalie?
Not from what.
Like,
in fairness to the
he
guy,
might have you by the balls, and you just might have to bite another possibly bad contract just to be safe.
But if you're like at this, we don't need to get into this. We're gonna have a whole whack of time to talk about this, and I'm so sick of talking about contracts. But like, you got to move a big contract if you're gonna give Jack Campbell $5-6 million. That's low end. If he ends this season a Vezina finalist, he's low end. It's $5-6 million. So somebody's got to go.
You got to move off either like the guys who are making contracts that if you got rid of them would make a difference are Marner, Matthews. Obviously, that's not happening. Nylander, Tavares, Muzzin, Brody, Riley. Like those are your $5 million.
There's a certain number 8 that stands out to me that I would think.
Yeah.
I think his best days are behind him, and I think at the end of the season, if you can move on from him, that'd be great. But who's gonna take him?
Nobody. And I would have no problem replacing him with Rasmus Sandin. Like that's not an issue for me, replacing Jake Muzzin, but obviously you got to be very creative to move off a contract like that. It's one thing I've learned this season more than any Leaf season in the past is any guy who is on an expiring contract, minus Jack Campbell because goaltending is so important, but anybody who's on an expiring contract who's going to make more money after this season, say goodbye.
Yep.
They're gone.
Yep.
Don't even think about re-signing them.
Ilya Mikheyev.
Don't get attached to them.
Yep.
Don't think that they're so important to this hockey team that they need to keep them. They're not.
Yep.
They're gone.
Yep.
But you're in a tough spot with Campbell because if you don't have a goalie, like where would they be? He's been letting in more goals lately than he has been earlier in the season. Whether that's his fault, the team's fault, probably a little bit of both. But it's just maybe that because he played so well at the start of the year that their record is what it is right now because of him. Maybe they weren't even playing as good as we thought, but he was playing that good. It's hard to let that go. It's hard to let that go. Like Freddie Anderson was at the end of the line. They seen enough. They thought that maybe they were kind of in the same situation at the start of this season as they might be next season, where Campbell might have to go. And then you're looking at I wasn't confident that Jack Campbell could be a number 1 goalie going into this season.
Well, if you remember, we were impressed with what we saw last year, and the point of getting Mrazek was supposed to be a tandem situation, and Campbell has taken the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
And Mrazek hasn't. But again, I don't want to dump on Peter Mrazek. He's had injury trouble and the guy's barely played.
I know, and he's been a pretty solid NHL.
Yeah.
If you pull up his hockey DB, he's been a pretty average, solid goaltender his whole career.
Yeah.
But if you're going into next season, at least Jack Campbell, you're right. At least Jack Campbell had that last season run where it's like, hey, he showed that he could do it.
Yes.
I don't.
All right.
Kyle's really been put in bad spots as a general manager.
Yep.
Where
part of this, I'm like, again, I'm so sick of talking about this, so I want to get off it. But like, when you allocate so much of your salary cap to 4 guys, that's what happens. This is what happens. But he's proven. We've both said multiple times on this show already that this is the best supporting cast they've had. So he's proven he can go out and find the Cashes and the Buntings.
Yeah, he did a great job.
And the Camps.
But all those guys mean absolute jack shit if your goalie can't make a save.
Exactly.
You know?
All right, before we get out of here, let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers. If you're a Leaf fan right now and you're upset about blown leads and like a road trip where you lost some games and where you lost a game in overtime and got goalied, just flip on the Edmonton Oilers and we're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Not good.
Connor McDavid. We said this last week. I'm going to say it again. Connor McDavid to make this league more fun and interesting. Do it. Just do it. Play out the rest of this season and then have your agent come out and say, "Get us out of here. Mm-hmm. We're done. This is a clown car. and I'm getting off it.
Well, that means like screw the Jack Campbell discussion. Like you're gonna have to find a way to clear cap space for
McDavid
97 to come here.
Because that's what he wants.
Dude, I can't. Like I don't want to. I hate like trolls and everything, but I'll look at me right now.
Look at him.
Connor McDavid leaves Edmonton. He wants to go to one place,
Yes.
and I promise you, it's that.
Yeah.
It's this logo. I promise you. I've actually never been more sure about anything in my entire life.
See, to me, that
Where Austin Matthews wants to leave Toronto because he's from the U.S. And you know what? Going to play in New York or L.A. would be pretty sick.
Yep.
Be pretty awesome. Or if he wants to go back home and play for the team that can't pay for their own building, then
that's
fine.
That's the biggest joke I've ever heard.
Connor McDavid grew up 2 minutes from my house,
Yep.
from our house.
Yep.
This guy, I know I'm kind of near his age group. He's got his whole life is around here. If this guy wants to leave and go anywhere,
He wants to come.
here.
He wants to come home.
I promise you, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, he will have that sweater on at some point in his career.
Well,
I promise you.
Well, there you go.
You can come back at me in
to me-
10 years, and
to me,
I will
that's-
tell you, I told you so.
To me, that's an aside from the fact that, like, let's make this interesting this offseason. Just come out and say,
I know.
we're done. This is a joke. I'm out of here. Like, what a dumpster fire of an organization the Edmonton Oilers are. Like honestly, like regime after regime coming in there, and they just
Peter
screw it up.
Chiarelli did a number on them.
Well, what's Kenny Holland doing?
But I don't think you can keep blaming him for that. The Edmonton Oilers are the perfect example of Jack Campbell leaving the Toronto Maple Leafs and having Peter Mrazek and
It's true. It's
and
true.
whoever else.
You put that's a huge thing with the Oilers. Yeah,
Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen.
Yeah, no,
They're garbage.
yeah. I mean,
I kind of feel bad for. I don't feel bad for them. I feel bad for some of the players, to be honest with you. I don't feel bad for that fan base because they can go screw themselves when you have that history of a franchise. That fan base pisses me off, but they're having a tough go right now.
they are having a. How's Zach Hyman feeling right now? Hope you're enjoying your money and your nice house in the frigid
If
temperature.
you're on an expiring contract and you're a role player,
goodbye. Yeah.
I'm never making that mistake again.
Yeah. Yep.
Never. See you later. You can be replaced.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back next week. Let's see what happens on this back-to-back games in New York. Thanks everybody for checking us out. If you like what you see, head to our Instagram at Talkin' Buds Podcast. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next week.